Hey guys, Mike out here with Steve Zolinardo. We're doing another episode of Real Estate on Record with Stefano. And what are we talking about today, Steph?
What are we talking about today? Am I the Steph? That's gonna.
You're the Steph?
Yeah. I don't know. We're just looking at some articles, right? Just coming out. We're trying to find some sort of positivity and momentum in the market, but every time you open up any news station, it's all about like death and slaughter based in the housing market.
Doom and gloom.
As soon as I opened this up right now, and this article was just posted 4 hours ago, and it says like Canada's likely sitting on the largest housing bubble of all time. So how do you get any momentum going forward, even with clients, wanting to sell or buy, because it's one of those negative.
Is that propaganda? Because saying that means it's a larger housing market problem than the U.S.
But news is propaganda.
I can't tell yet, I'm going to be honest. I don't have a crystal ball. I wish I did. But we're definitely seeing people that are struggling a little bit more than they were before. Now we're seeing that lag effect from those interest rates come in. And affordability is crazy, right? We had clients that went to go apply for a mortgage. They have to qualify 9%, right? So affordability is like on their monthly basis is going through the roof. We were just talking about grocery prices. What did they go up last month?
They said 8.5%.
8.5%. So like that's just last month. That's coming out of people's bottom line, right? At the end of the month.
But I thought they said inflation was coming down.
It did go down.
It did go down.
2.8%.
2.8, and now we're back up to 3.3.
So again, there's a policy rate meeting on September 6th.
Yeah.
So I mean, ultimately, then you're going to expect the rate to go up. I mean, what did they say? There was 45,000 construction jobs lost in Canada in July. So where's all those jobs? Which jobs? Like which part of Canada are those coming from? Is that Ontario? I mean, that would be the biggest construction industry in all of Canada, I would imagine.
When I talk to the guys in the construction industry, they're still pretty busy. Do they have a couple more options to hire people? They do, but it's not like any sort of crisis or anything in GTA anyway.
But is that low rise or high rise?
Both.
Both?
Yeah.
Because we met with the builder and their sales have been slacking.
Yeah, but we won't see that lag
Yeah,
for a while, right?
yeah.
So if, let's say, builders stopped building like a year ago, maybe a year and a bit, they're still completing the projects that were underway in the last year or so.
I don't think one administration is going to fix this one term. I think this is like the damage done in the last 8 to 10 years. Again, folks, I don't care how you vote, left or right, but it's just like all the damage literally in the last 8 to 10 years caused by the current administration here in Canada. I don't think it's going to take one term to fix it. And I think a lot of these new bills that I put into place are not going to be removed. Like again, I've been talking about the bill C-11, that there's that restriction with media. Now everyone's freaking out because they can't look at news on their fucking, excuse my language, on Facebook and stuff like that on the meta channels. But this went through the House and also the Senate. It was approved. This is also your freedom. Like basically now, like broadcasting is basically controlled by the Canadian government. But they spin it up nicely. They say it's going to be broadcasting, the pro-Canadian stations. But what does pro-Canadian like entail? What does that mean? Like, what is a pro-Canadian? Like,
what does it mean?
What does it mean? It could be anything. So whoever's behind that, pen and what they're writing, it's what they want. So it's almost like it's dictatorship. It's literally a communist way of doing things. No matter what, however you want to look at it, you can't spin that any way nice, right? And now people are freaking out based on that. But that's and that's not going to leave, because for the current government that's in place right now, it works for them really well, and it'll work for the other party very well, because now you can control media at such a high level right now. Like you can have interference in everything, and clearly there's always interference in media around the world, but now it's like full control by the current government.
So we used to have the ability, and Mike, maybe you can jump in on this, that we used to have the ability, if you had a detached and you wanted to downgrade, you can jump into a semi or a town or even a condo. But now it seems like people can't downgrade to anything, because if their detached is 1.2, the semi is going to be 1, or the condo is going to be 9. So it's not like they're really downgrading. So what do people do if they want to downgrade?
No, they could still
Yeah,
downgrade.
they can go.
Yeah, they could. There's still enough of a gap. Obviously, it depends how much mortgage there is. They might have to go from a detached to a town. Like it all depends how much equity is in that property. But it's definitely still possible. And,
Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, and that's what we're talking to clients about now. Like if you do with your increase in payments coming, if it's something that you want to be a little bit proactive about and jump in, make that move before you're actually in a jam, or other people are renting out their basement if that's an option. That's what we're having a lot of conversations now about is going from that detached to the semi or to the town.
But also, you can move to another area.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to be like York. If you were lived in York Region, you can go to Simcoe. You can need to come see, right? You can still great quality of life, great schools, and a fraction of the price. So you can always move around.
Like for example, we're looking for a client now. We're looking at towns and stacked towns and condos in Woodbridge, or we can go to Schaumburg and get a full freehold townhouse, right? So that option's there with the location.
So what about the people who now there's a huge influx in divorce? What about those people that come to you and say, "Look, I got to sell my property. We got to split our assets and go our separate ways." Where do you guide these people? Because they're technically they don't even have. Like if let's say they clear $1 million, they have no mortgage. It's 500. They're not going anywhere with 500. So now you as realtors, what do you do to guide these people in the right direction?
Yeah, no, we've had those situations, and the ones that have enough to stay in the market, they want to stay in the market, right? So we put them back into a property, and then we've had options where they've rented for a short period of time just to get going again, and then they're gonna jump back in once they're back on track again.
Do you agree?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Because I'm looking at the situation and okay, so how about this? They split their assets and now they got to go get a mortgage. They're not going to get approved.
It depends, right? As long as their credit's not damaged. I know when there's divorce cases, is usually one of the parties. Usually, a lot of it's monetary issues, right? Clearly, a lot of stress in the marriage, so it just ends bad just based on that, the pressures, right? But I mean, ultimately, as long as the credit's not damaged and you know there's substantial pull away from like the capital pulled out of the property, you should be able to get them into like Mike was saying. So if you lived in a 3,000 square foot house, maybe you're going to get into a townhouse, same area or maybe a different area, you know. So it's just there'll obviously be you're downsizing, downgrading in a sense, but ultimately you'll still be able to buy in, right? As long as your credit's not and your income level is still decent, you're fine.
Yeah.
So now what's a decent income level that you have to have?
And currently in today's market, it's a lot. Like I don't know, you need to be
Close
I
to
don't even know.
100?
Yeah, I think even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I ran some numbers recently just to show you if just think for qualification, like the debt ratios and stuff
Yeah,
like
you
that.
did that video.
That's wild. Like
Yeah.
how much money like a
buyer
couple needs just to
Yeah.
qualify for a mortgage, $800,000. It's wild.
So tell me something, guys. Investing in property obviously is the best kind of investment for your future. But when it comes time to retire, a lot of people are looking at the pension. They shouldn't do that, obviously, because you don't get enough, right? So what kind of decisions do they have to make now in order to have, you know, a good retirement?
Yeah, I mean it's real estate. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What would you recommend?
So it's tough now, you know, like right now we're in shaky territory. Like, you know, do you put money back in Canada? I wouldn't personally. I would just hold. I would wait. That you just gotta wait till whatever happens happens. Because clearly, whatever's supposed to happen has not happened. Does it happen or does it not happen? We don't know. But currently, there's too many obstacles. Like I wouldn't feel comfortable putting money back here for sure. But at some point, you should be buying real estate. Like in investments. And if you can't get it on your own, you should be joint venturing with 2-3 people. At least you got a piece of the action. And at some point you can flip that, take the money out, and then, you know, kind of bring that money back to you and you can buy your own property. Everyone buys their own piece of real estate rather than have like a joint venture. But I mean, the more pieces you get, like that's how I started to invest. It was a fraction of the money, it was a fraction of the risk, and you still had a piece of real estate. It made sense. Clearly you got to find decent partners, right?
You agree?
100%. And there's stepping stones, like you said, along the way. Ultimately, our goal is to take whatever we can make in sales or whatever job we have and put it into an appreciating asset that's hopefully going to pay you cash flow, right? So ultimately, even if you don't have a pension, but you have a house and you buy a house today and in 30 years it's paid off and there's a tenant in there paying you $3,500 a month, well, there's your cash flow, right?
You need a. I mean, at the end, you need some sort of. I mean, people go into stocks and they do a bunch of stuff, but I mean, the real estate's still one of the best vehicles for investments in long term. It's just right now, like I said, I find I struggle here a little bit right now to kind of put money back. But there's other places you can put money, right? So
And you're
it's
not
up to
going
you.
to put money back in here?
Not yet, no.
Not yet, but you haven't closed the door completely.
No, if the market, if it starts making sense, if everything flattens out and you start to see like a sideway action, like but flat, it has to really flatten out, and then ultimately at that point, yeah, should pick something up, I would imagine, because it's gonna have to with the immigration and all the stuff happening in the country, it should go back at some point, yeah. But that could be 5, it could be 10 years, it could be never. I'm just saying, I would never be so hard up and close the door. I just right now currently I don't feel comfortable.
See?
Yeah.
So where can they find us, Mike?
They can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and I'm Mike Gaddy. You can find me at Mike Gaddy Realtor. And Steve, where can they find you?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Stevens Leonardo or at Treviso Realty, one or the other.
And we'll see them next time.
Yeah.
Good.